If anyone ever told you that making games is easy, toss them off a bridge. Since I uploaded the last video, I have been struggling. First, I went on a very necessary expedition to see if I should continue making my visual novel in Godot, from Reddit to YouTube and then back and forth. And in the end, after finding barely any opinions on the subject, I just decided to continue in Godot. It took me a week to write the quite frankly short script. It should not have taken me that long. And almost 2 weeks after that to draw all the assets for the game. Visual novel sprites? I curse on this world. Okay, no, I did have fun making them. It was super hard though. To be honest, finding resources to make this game was the worst part of it. I'm not saying there's nothing out there. If that was the case, I wouldn't still be making this damn game. But after scouring the internet for days on end before finding anything of substance to help, I almost did give up on this game. Considering how difficult it was for me to find things, I will be sprinkling in some little lessons in my videos on making a visual novel, particularly in Godot. I don't want to become a tutorial channel, but if someone is interested in doing what I'm doing in the future and they reference my video, it would be pretty cool to see. First, I had to find an application to write my branching narrative in, and that might have taken the longest out of all the research I had to do. That was more my fault than anyone else's. I was being very lazy and indecisive, and eventually it came down to Inkle or Inky and Twine. And after watching tutorials on how they are used and testing both of them out myself, I decided to go with Twine. Finding a Twine tutorial was relatively simple, and the tutorial I used will be linked in the description below. I had never written a branching narrative before, and I did try to find tutorials on that. I found one. It will also be linked in the description. I don't think I really used it much. I just decided to wing it. I've been writing for a while, and so I decided to trust my gut, and I think it's good enough. It's fine. It's not revolutionary or anything, but it's fine. One very good thing about Twine is that you can play test the game outside of Twine, so people don't need to have laptops or the Twine app itself, which is free by the way, to playtest the text part of the game. You can export the Twine file as an HTML format and then play it in your browser, and that means you can play it on your phone or your laptop, which was pretty good for having people try the game out and telling me how it was. I will have that version also in the description for you to be able to playtest if you're interested, because as much as I want to finish this game, I may not, and I like some playable version of the game to be accessible if that happens. After writing came art, and if researching for writing took a long time, researching for art didn't take very long, but it did nearly make me reconsider making this game. There were so many different answers to the same question, and that's normal. No two games are the same, but I was under the impression that visual novels should be a bit more clear-cut, and I wasn't getting the answers I wanted or needed. So in the end, I made a mock-up of what I wanted the finished game to look like, then cropped the image to just about the size of the characters in the mock-up, and that became my character sprite canvas size. The resolution I opted for is a 1080p, so all my backgrounds are 1080 by 920. I didn't want to do a 720 resolution for my background and then have to scale up. That's probably not a good idea. So I just went with 1080p. It's not hurting anyone. With the text box, because if you have played visual novels, you know they have text box, and some of them have very cool text box. I roughly drew that over the mockup. There was a text box in the mockup, and then I lowered the opacity of the mockup and drew the text box over that. If you want any advice on drawing UI elements like the text box, draw that before you draw the background, because when I finished everything and then I assembled it, I realized that the text box covered some of the background art, but it's fine. It's done already and I don't want to redo it, so it's fine. For the character sprites, after I was done with the mockup, I cropped it to the size of the characters in the mockup, and that size became the canvas size rounded to the nearest 10th number. So the character sprites sheets that I made, they are 650 by 1080. They're 1080 pixels tall by 650 pixels wide. Drawing the character sprites themselves was testing, I would say. I really love drawing, but drawing visual novel sprites will test that love, truly. The easiest character to draw was Ghost, who has only one state. And if you watched the previous video, you're probably wondering, who is Ghost? Another character? Yes. The Ghost is the mastermind to the characters being stuck in the cabin. She has no other name. She's just Ghost. If you're new here, I am making a visual novel about 6 strangers stuck in a creepy cabin. You play as Clenum, the main character, and have to solve simple challenges to make it out alive. Drawing visual novel sprites is, I think I've said this already, but it's something. It's something, all right. I will link the only tutorial I could find that sent me in the best direction. It's a very simple tutorial. You can get some of the same information on articles, but I know some people, especially if you're watching a YouTube video, prefer video tutorial, so I will link that in the description. One thing I had a problem with after drawing all the characters was flipping. And if you have played any visual novel, you know characters sometimes flip to face each other as they speak in the visual novel, and so when you draw them, they should look good in both angles. And after all the sprites were complete, I still don't think they look good in any angle. But I wasn't going to redraw them, so we have to stick with it. I also wrote down plans for a new game. I know. I didn't draw anything. No concepting. It was just an idea. I was just writing an idea.
You need to leave!
Okay, I'm sorry. I should have focused all my time on this game. But then, after that small break, it was just more art. After the character sprites were done, which took a while, I started on UI. I did a text box, pause button, which kind of fades in the background, so I might redo. I did a pause screen. I also did a start screen, both of which look a bit simple and maybe a bit ugly, but at this point I'm not redoing them. I'm tired of doing art for this game, I swear to God. I also drew sprites for the 2 mini games. I did talk about mini games in the previous video. I didn't want the game to just be a visual novel. I wanted to explore other game modes, and so the 2 mini games I picked were a puzzle game and a rearrange game. Very simple, but it's to get my feet wet for bigger projects in the future. My biggest worry with these games that I made, the puzzle and the rearrange game, is that I've done the sprites wrong, and when I put them in the game I'll have to redraw them. You know, let's not be pessimistic. I decided to start with art and writing instead of like prototyping and stuff like he always recommended to do, because those are the things I'm most familiar with. I've been writing and drawing longer than I've ever even known that people could make games. So I decided to put coding dead last. Hopefully my next video is about me finishing the game and not about how badly the coding is going. I also don't have a name for this game yet. I have a few ideas, but I'm not sure I like any of them. So if you have any suggestions for like a name, I would appreciate it. If you are not sure what you could name the game, you could playtest the Twine version, link in the description, to like get a taste for what the game is, and then give me ideas. I'd appreciate that. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe.